Hello and welcome to today's edition of the dafyomi, Nazir Daf 52. I'm doing Amud B, so let's dive straight in. And if it entered your mind that halacha applies to either a spine or a skull, and they are two separate halachot, these are 7 cases rather than 6, the Gemara rejects this claim. No, proof can be brought from here, as when the Tana teaches this tali, he lists 7 items. However, only 6 items are fully relevant here, and therefore he said there was 6. And one says a mnemonic device for the ensuing suggestions as to which item in the list is necessary in this context. An individual. This mnemonic, which does not appear in all manuscripts, is difficult to decipher. Some commentators explain it as referring to the 4 options offered in the following discussion for the halacha omitted from the tali, with each term representing one option, and that's from the Shoshanim. The David disagrees with him, that he, a Nazarite, shaves for it, and 1 quarter log. The first explanation is Rabbi Akiva listed the spine and skull in separate items, but in the 6 include anywhere that many sages disagree with him, to the exclusion of a case of a bone that is a barley grain bulk. So what does that mean? Puke etzem kisura, a bone from a corpse that has the volume of a barley grain bulk imparts impurity by contact and carrying, which means that a Nazarite who touches or carries it is obligated to shave. However, it does not render people or items impure in a tent. Sefer Tahara Hechatum is made to 10, and Sefer Avlah Hechanazirut 7:6. As here is an individual who disagrees with Rabbi Akiva, as is taught in a Mishnah, Ocharot 2:7. If a bone that is a barley grain bulk was divided into 2, a bone, the volume of a barley grain bulk that was split into 2, imparts which impurity by carrying, as the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Rambam Sefer Tahara Hechatum is made for 4, and there's a Mishnah there. Rabbi Akiva deems it impure, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri deems it pure. In this case, only one sage disagrees with Rabbi Akiva, and if you wish say a different item on the list is omitted from the tali, when he teaches 6, he includes a limb severed from a corpse, but he does not teach a limb severed from a living person, and that was the case that was not listed. And if you wish say a different item on the list that is omitted from the tali, when he teaches 6, he omits anywhere that a Nazarite shaves for his overlaying, i.e. he forms a tent over the remains of a corpse, to the exclusion of the case of a bone that is a barley grain bulk, as it does not impart impurity as in a tent. As stated in the Mishnah, the bone imparts impurity only to contact and carrying. And if you wish say a different item on the list that is omitted from the tali, when he teaches 6, he lists anywhere that Rabbi Akiva retracted his opinion, to the exclusion of a quarter cup of blood. As he did not retract his opinion in that case, as Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said to Bar Kapara, do not teach a quarter log of blood in the list of Rabbi Akiva's retractions, as Rabbi Akiva held onto his opinion in this regard. So what does that mean? Lemida shel Rabbi Akiva b'yado. Some say that Rabbi Akiva was known to have repeated this ruling to his disciples on many occasions, and it is therefore evident that he did not change his mind. And furthermore, the verse supports his opinion, as it states, neither shall he go in to any dead bodies. In Leviticus 21:11, the plural form bodies indicates that 2 corpses can join together, as stated by Rabbi Akiva. Similarly, Rabbi Shimon says, all his days Rabbi Akiva would deem a quarter of blood from 2 corpses which is impure. Whether he retracted his opinion after he died, this I do not know. A sage taught Rabbi Shimon's teeth blackened due to his fast, which he undertook for uttering this irreverent comment about Rabbi Akiva. The Gemara returns to the earlier discussion. Common here an answer to the question of whether a spine and skull must be brought together. Must be together to impoverish impurity, as is taught in the Mishnah Diyut 1:7. That by Shammai say a quarter log of bones. What does that mean? Rova atzamas minha atzimim. Some commentaries suggest that by Shammai received a ruling referring to a quarter cup of bones from bones, which they interpreted as referring to 2 or 3 bones. Conversely, Beit Hillel's ruling stated a quarter cup from the body, which they explained as a reference to the majority of the structure of the majority of the number of bones, which has the stage of a whole corpse, which imparts impurity in a tent, can be from several bones. had samim. Let's see that in the Hebrew. That's just the phonetics. I'll find the word here. That's where I can't see it here. Anyway, I'll see in the footnote. So the footnote had samim. Samim, bones. Although this plural form usually appears as the feminine atzamot, the masculine form atzamim is occasionally used in see Ezekiel 24:4, or from 2 or 3 bones. According to most commentaries, this means from 2 or 3 bones. They apparently maintain that a quarter carved from a single bone does not impart rich impurity to Mary. Others explaining that by Shammai referring to bones from 2 or 3 different people. One must commentary on the Mishnah Idiot 1:7. If so, Beis Shammai maintain that bones from several people can combine to the amount of quarter carved. This means Rabbi Akiva rules in accordance with the opinion of Beis Shammai, and is stated in one source that Rabbi Akiva was a Shemuti, a follower of Beis Shammai. But they cannot be from one bone, and Beis Hillel say a quarter cup of bones must be from the same body, either from the majority of the structure of the skeleton or from the majority of the number of 248 bones in the body. Rabbi Chiour said, I can establish the statement of Beis Shammai and the statement of Beis Hillel as one. In other words, I can explain their opinions so that there is no dispute between them. How so? And when Beis Shammai say from 2 or 3 bones, they mean either from 2 shins and 1 thigh, or from 2 thighs and 1 shin. So what does that mean? O Mishnei Shekayim. The shin and thigh constitute the majority of the leg, which forms the majority of an individual height. Some commentaries find Rabbi Yeshua's statement somewhat problematic, as he lists 3 bones but not 2, whereas Beis Shammai speak of 2 or 3. One explanation is that the 2 thighs do not come from 2 legs, rather they are 2 bones, one thicker than the other, which together make up the thigh, which are considered a single bone. If so, 2 thighs and a shin are essentially 2 bones, whereas 2 shins and a thigh constitute 3. For the remaining post. Others maintain that Beis Shammai's mention of 2 should not be taken literally, as it is the manner of the sages to refer to several items by this term. See 10b. And since the majority of a person's height is contained in the height of these limbs, they are considered the majority of the structure of the body. And Beis Hillel say part from the body and from the majority of the structure, or from the majority of the number of bones, since they include joints of the hands and feet. What does that mean? Yeshnan b'mif in Tractate Acharot 1a, the sages count the total of 30 bones in the arms and legs, including hands and feet. Accordingly, the number of bones in these limbs amounts to 120, close to half the additional number of 248 bones in the body. Nowadays, there are considered to be 27 bones in each arm and 26 in each foot. Apparently, the sages also counted the sesamode bones found in the joints, which is why they arrived at a larger sum. Since the number of sesamodes vary with age and from one individual to another, it follows that in some skeletons the number of bones on the arms and legs could comprise the majority of bones of the entire body in number and size, which comprise many small bones apart from purity. But Shammai says the proof that the verse and the spine and skull do not need to both be present to impart impurity is apparently from Shammai's statement, and he explicitly counts the spine and skull separately. Many commentaries claim that the Gemora seeks to prove from Shammai's ruling that the rabbis agree with him in this regard. Although he disputes the other opinions with regard to the one bone, it is likely that the opinions are so varied that the rabbis insist that the spine and skull must be together. That's what the Rosh. According to this explanation, the answer, Shammai is different as he is stringent, should be understood as follows. Shammai's statement affords no proof, as he often as he is often very stringent, and therefore it is possible that he maintains extreme opinion in the opposition to that of the rabbis. Even a bone from the spine or from a skull imparts impurity. In this source, Shammai explicitly refers to spine or skull. The Gemara rejects this proof. One can not establish a general halacha from this source, for Shammai is different, as he is invariably stringent, whereas the rabbis might disagree. The Gemara inquires, if so, let's resolve the opposite from this brayta. The reason that Shammai spoke of a spine or a skull is that Beis Shammai are stringent, from which it can be inferred that according to the rabbis, a spine and skull are not ritually impure unless both the spine and skull are present. The Gemara rejects this proof too. No, the rabbis disagree with Shammai only with regard to one bone that comes from the spine or from the skull, but when it is intact, even if the bone is from one of them. A whole spine or whole skull impart impurity by contact, carrying, and an attempt like an intact corpse, and that's why it must shave if he is rendered impure by them. Although this dilemma is left unresolved by the Gemara, Shammai clearly rules in this manner, and the wording of the Mishnah indicates likewise. He is the case of Mishnah. Furthermore, the Gemara goes to great lengths to substantiate this opinion. Nazir 7:2 and Sefer Tahara Hilchot Masechet 2:8. Either spine or the skull, they possibly agree that it imparts impurity. Rami Bahama raised a dilemma with regard to quarter covered bones from a spine and a skull. What is halacha? Does another shave for them? The Gemara explains the two sides of the dilemma. When the Mishnah teaches that one shaves for half covered bones, does this apply only when they are from his other limbs? But in the case of bones from a spine and a skull, which are stringent, what does that mean? Some commentators explain that the stringency is that these bones impart impurity even if they are extremely small, e.g. if they are from babies or miscarried fetuses, as no minimum volume is stated with regard to the spine and skull, says the Rid. One question is why Rami Bahama doesn't inquire with regard to a quarter calf from the majority of the structure of the majority of the number of bones, which is also stringency. The Kohen answers that, unlike the spine and skull, none of these bones is important or particularly stringent on its own, but only when combined together. As they impart impurity on their own, even a quarter cup of bones imparts impurity. Perhaps it is no different. Rabbi said, common here resolution from the Mishnah, which teaches that the spine and the skull, if it enter your mind that a quarter cup of bones that come from a spine and skull is more stringent than other limbs and imparts impurity, let the Tana teach this halacha in a manner that presents a greater novelty by stating for a quarter calf. What does that mean? In other words, the Mishnah itself should have taught for a quarter calf of bones from the spine and skull. Commentators point out that if this is Rava's inference, he maintains that the spine and skull invariably contain more than a quarter calf, and therefore it is a greater novelty for the Mishnah to teach quarter calf of bones from the spine and the skull, Totfot and the Rosh, that come from the spine and skull. That's the end of that half of the daf. Wish you a good day and peace in Israel. All the best. Bye.